Hello friends, this is David Sami with A Christian Journey. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the events that have transpired in these past few days between Israel and the Hamas. I think we were all saddened and shocked by what we saw taking place in Israel. To see pictures of innocent civilians killed or taken hostage. But if he takes a step back, there have come up some puzzling circumstances surrounding the initial absence of an Israeli response. Some things that maybe again should give us a pause and consider and maybe look at this in a little bit of bigger picture. Now, one of the first things that has come out is an event of this magnitude must have taken months in preparation. How is it that Israeli Secret Service did not know about this? Mossad is one of the best agencies in the whole world. How is it that they did not know this was coming? Even now, we are finding out that the Egyptian president notified Israel few days before this attack that something big is coming. How is it that Israel did not take the proper step to prepare itself? And also, there are reports coming out of Israel that you could have a mouse going alongside of that fence and the Israelis would know about it. How is it that we have all of these bridges into the fence and bringing a bulldozer and going through the fence without an Israeli response? Some people are estimating between 6 to 8 hours before the Israeli military responded. How come the response was not quicker? So some of these questions are just giving us a little bit of red flag that maybe we shouldn't be so hasty in jumping into conclusion, but to step back and see how things unfold, and in the days to come, see where all of these would lead. Because we don't know for sure, but we just do the best that we can by hearing from both sides, in a sense, and trying to glean insight about what is going on. But the question is, would the government of Israel allow an attack on its own citizen to garner support and sympathy for what is to come? Maybe for a future war, possibly with Iran and Syria. Again, many people are calling this the Israel's 9/11. Just as in 9/11, when we had our towers attack, it began to generate support and sympathy from the American people to our government, that now, because of what has happened, we are justified in going after the perpetrator, after the people that did this to us. And we went to war with Afghanistan and then later on with Iraq. And we claim that what justifies our action is because Iraq has the weapons of mass destruction. And now we know for a fact that that was not true, that that was made up. And we went to Iraq and we had all of these casualties, both Americans as well as Iraqis. That country got devastated, all because that's what we wanted to do. But the thing is, many times the governments would try to create an excuse, something that would give them justification for what they want to do all along. And for us, 9/11 and the weapons of mass destruction was our justification to go to war with Afghanistan, with Iraq. And what is sad is the government can decide on a certain course of action. But what was sad is that in the evangelical community, nobody that I know of of visible pastors and visible ministries ever raised the alarm that, is this a just war? Should we go to war with Iraq? But they all got right behind the narrative, and all these prophecy teachers, they all come out of the woodwork and talk about, oh, here we go, Ezekiel 38, here is something that the Lord is showing them now that they never seen before, that Ezekiel 38 is maybe not Russia, but it's all of these Islamic nations that are going to come against Israel, and all of these things. And usually around this time, they all hear something from the Lord. They all hear something that they never saw before, and how the Lord would make them pay attention. Where did it all go? Where are those terrorists now? You see, we don't hear anything anymore. But what it was to manipulate the Christian community to fall in line with the narrative, to excuse whatever we are doing. But you see, a Christian response needs to be based on the teaching of the New Testament. What would have been the difference between a secular person who's conservative and who feels like, okay, we are justified to go to war, and a Christian? Should the response be one and the same, or should it be different? You see, this is what is problematic, is that our response is really basically becoming one and the same as a secular person, because we get manipulated into viewing the situation in a certain way. Then that gives justification for whatever is to come. You see, what is taking place in Israel, again, we don't know for sure if this was something that the government of Israel allowed to happen to create sympathy and support from the world, from the actions that are to come. We usually be able to connect the dots better in the future, because we will see what became the outcome of what is taking place now. But the sad part is the citizen of both Israel as well as the Palestinian people. See, in evangelical community, we want to be friend of Israel. We are very pro-Israel. But just because we are pro-Israel, it doesn't mean that we are to be anti-Palestinians. In the Palestinian community, you have many people who are Christian. Should we be okay by them getting annihilated? Because when the bomb drops on Israel, as well as the Palestinian, as well as the Gaza and the Palestinian area, these are innocent people that are being killed. Now, what should be a Christian response? You see, in the New Testament, here are some samples of how we should treat our enemy. Luke 6:27-30. Jesus would simply say, love your enemies and do good to them that hate you. Romans 12:21. Don't be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. 1 Peter 3:9. Not rendering evil with evil. You see, the government can take certain course of action, and I will make a distinction between the role of government and its response with individual roles and our response. But we as a Christian community should put forth more, echo the voices of peace. We want a speedy resolution to this, that we should stop this for humanitarian reason on both sides, Israelis as well as Palestinians, that we are the people should be peacemakers. The more we become like Christ, the more we cultivate and develop the beatitude characters. And one of those character qualities is to be peacemaker. We should not feel satisfied and justified by having all of these Palestinians to be massacred because of the action of the Hamas or their governing authorities. but these are fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, just the same as the Israelites. But you see how we got so impacted by the events of 9/11 that we begin to see ourselves as us against them, because we have been conditioned by these so-called prophecy teachers, by these so-called ministries, who now will feel justified for whatever Israel sees fit to do. But why is that Christian? Yes, Israel can do what it sees fit, but we should be the ones to echoing peace, that there should come an end to this conflict, that this conflict should not escalate. It should not give rise to new wars. Possibly some people speculate that maybe there's going to come a conflict with Lebanon and Syria, and eventually go to Iran as the major perpetrator. But you see, for us to be pro-Israel, we also have to be pro-justice, pro what is right, and that human life is valuable. And we should not feel like that, okay, now all bets are off, and whatever happens, it's fine, because we want to be pro-Israel. We want to be pro-Israel as well as pro-Palestinians. We want to love all mankind and to do good to them. That our positions should be different than a secular positions. We have some of our presidential candidates like Nikki Haley. She is just all out for all wars and everything. And I hear from so many Christian ministries that they're all calling us to wake up and see what is taking place. But you see, even if we have enemies, to be Christian means that we counter our enemies the way our Lord and Savior wants us to behave like. We don't follow our stirred emotions or what we think is right. We follow Christ. And if Christ said, love your enemies, you could be my enemy. You could want to eradicate me. But I'm not going to succumb to an action based on my emotion or your action. I will behave according to my values, to what I think Christ wants me to do, regardless of the result and regardless of the outcome. This is what it means to be a Christian. And a Christian teacher, somebody that you regard as a person of authority or your Christian guidance and leader. You see, we don't just behave well when all is well, but how do we behave when things aren't well? Do we abandon our values? Do we abandon what Christ has said and just react the way what we think we should be? You see, we could easily get manipulated that way. We could easily be shown things that maybe were manufactured to bring us to a certain conclusions. But you see, if we stick with the Bible and with the teaching of the New Testament, you cannot be manipulated that much. We can falsify many things, but you only be impacted very little, because your action is guided by the New Testament and what Christ has said and what the apostles are saying. And that should be the bottom line. That is a Christian response, not to just go and massacre, because we have been shown pictures that maybe they are true or maybe they were manufactured. Again, I don't want to say that for sure. We don't know. But regardless, we want to behave and echo what Christ says, that we hope that there will come a peace soon, that there would be a resolution to this conflict, that there should not go a day go by unnecessarily without coming to peace. But you see, this is what we should be echoing. The secular world can determine for themselves, but this is how we should behave, and this should be our response. So just wanted to bring up some thoughts. Again, I don't say that the government of Israel manufactured this, invite this to garner support and sympathy, but there are some red flags, and we just want to kind of be patient and see what is to come. But our hope and what we declare should be a speedy resolution, peace, that we do not hope to see this situation get out of control and go far and involve other nations. That no, human life is important, both Israelis as well as Palestinian, and we want to see peace. We hope for a peaceful resolution. Just some thought that, be mindful. How are you being influenced? Be mindful of the condition of your heart. Are you becoming hateful toward these people? Are you just following the same bloodthirsty drumbeat as maybe everyone else? But be mindful and let your response be based on the New Testament, not based on what you see and your stirred emotion. So some thought. Again, I hope to bring about another video relatively soon. As a matter of fact, I wanted to talk about what it means to be a Christian, because unfortunately today we have lost sight of what it means to be Christians, and all we like is to follow these prophecy teachers who would tell us things that would itch our ears or make us excited, but they never do anything as far as transforming us to become more like Christ, which is the goal of Christian life, not following so-called prophecies. Everything is prophecy, prophecy, prophecy. And all they do is cultivate an attitude in us that is maybe not Christ-like. So, until next time, may the Lord be with you. May He watch over you. May He make His face to shine upon you and give you peace. This is David Sami with the Christian Journey.